This is GameFace's media launch of the Cricket Southern Bayside competition, looking at juniors and seniors. Lots of people playing cricket throughout the southeast part of Melbourne, which is fantastic. We're here at the Junction Oval. Beautiful day to kick off the Premier Cricket competition, as you can see in the background. Tim Boyce has joined me now, the president of the Inner Southeast Cricket Competition, big junior competition with 195 teams. Tim, welcome. When I say that, 195 teams, that's a lot of cricket teams, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've grown since last season from about 170 teams up to 195. So
wow.
Growth in cricket in our region is absolutely fantastic. And 195 teams all the way through from under 11s playing the stage 1 cricket through to under 13s playing stage 2, all the way up to even growth at an under 17 level, which we think is fantastic in terms of retention of players in cricket as they look to move to senior cricket.
So is it new clubs or just new teams within existing
So it's a combination of both. We've welcomed a couple of new clubs from sort of the fringes of the region who I think like what we do and what we offer as an association, but we've certainly grown from our existing base, in particular in under 11s and under 13s. So the other growth at under 15s is that we offer what we think is probably the best junior competition in the state, our under 15 all turf competition.
Right.
So clubs who've got access to turf and want to play an all turf junior competition tend to come into the association at the under 15 level to play that as well.
At the end of each season, is there always an aim to increase the number of teams you've got? And as you said, you had 170 last season. Were you aiming to increase by as much as you have increased
so no,
team
we
numbers
weren't.
by, or you're just hoping to get a few more in?
Yeah, look, we don't really put a target to it. The biggest difficulty that all junior cricket associations have is access to grounds. So the only way you can actually grow, because we're at capacity for grounds, so the only way you can grow is to find more grounds. So for example, Turak Paran this year are using Orong Park and actually doing what they do over in the UK, which is mowing strips on either side of the main ground so that you can fit double headers on at once, and then playing at 8:30 in the morning and then another match at 10:30 so that they can fit 4 junior matches where one previously used to exist. And the other thing we use is what's called flicks pitches or roll-out plastic pitches, which they can put on those mown surfaces to create more access to pitches than you've normally got so you can play multiple matches on the bigger grounds that only have synthetic normally.
So how do you get more grounds, or how do you get access to more grounds, considering it is such a big growth population that you're involved in with the southeast, whether it be inner southeast or outer southeast or middle southeast?
It's a conversation that we should all be having with the local councils. So they're literally...
Are they helping you enough, the local councils?
How do I politically respond to that by saying anything other than no? They could be doing more. So it's...
And why aren't they? Do they feel there are other priorities?
There's 2 priorities. The first one is the investment in the horticulture department in continuing to prepare turf wickets that can last for a full season with senior and junior cricket. And the other is just we're in an area where land is scarce. You can't release more reserves because housing is so expensive, moving from Turak Paran all the way out to Malvern and out to the Bayside regions, that the land's just more valuable for other uses. So we just have to make the most of the facilities we've got and make sure none of those facilities are lost to cricket.
In the lead up to a game, have you ever found yourself in a situation in recent times where you're thinking, gee, we've got so many teams, but we're a bit short on grounds? And what do you do then to ensure you can get those cricket matches up and about? Yeah,
so that happens every season, and probably this season it's been at its biggest pressure point for exactly that reason.
Do schools help?
So schools is one of the absolutely critical areas. So great schools like Mount View Primary give us access to the primary school grounds.
Good.
And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that happening. The difficulty from a school perspective when you have conversations with them is whether they're using their ovals for other uses on weekends. Our biggest growth in terms of playing days has moved from Friday nights to Sunday mornings. And Sunday mornings, you've probably got more access to grounds because there's not a lot of senior cricket played on Sunday. So we're moving people from playing on Saturday to Sundays and Sunday mornings.
Does that cause an issue with volunteers, considering there might be some people playing cricket on a Saturday and then they've got young children trying to find a way of having a family day on Sunday?
Volunteers is our single biggest issue, and not at an association level, but definitely at a club level. And you know, we all know every club is run by one or two people who've been there forever and a day. But when those people move on, passing on all of that institutional knowledge to keep things going is quite a difficult thing to do. But we love our volunteers. We don't care if all they do is a little bit of scoring, a little bit of team management every now and then, or simply turning up to support their kids. The ones that we struggle with are the drop-off and pick-up, who don't get involved with their kids in the sport. And we become a little bit of a provider of services and they become a consumer of services, as opposed to what we really love, which is everyone doing this as a family type event. But to your point, Dan, cricket takes up a lot of time. It's competing with basketball, which is short, with tennis, which is shorter, which is football, which takes a shorter period of time in most cases. So the risk that cricket has is that it takes too much time away from
But
families.
you're doing a lot right if you've got nearly 200 teams.
And so that's one thing to be really open that Cricket Australia have done really well introducing the new junior formats, is the time frame is condensed and the opportunity for the kids, for every kid who's playing to get an opportunity is greater, so that you know you're going to turn up, not get out for a duck and not do anything for the rest of the day. Kids going to participate.
That's right.
All the way through the matches, and we've certainly seen a huge benefit to that in ISEC over the last 2 or 3 years.
Is there an issue, Tim, with ugly parent syndrome? And if so, as president of the association, how are you able to nip that in the bud and ensure it doesn't become a big issue?
So we last year was the first season where we didn't have one tribunal or issue related to parents.
That's great, isn't it?
Now, there's been a lot of work that's gone into that, and we are pretty hard line in terms of how we and our clubs deal with parents who don't behave in the way that we want them to. Do parents get invested in their children's performance? Absolutely no doubt about that. But if we keep reinforcing that it's a game, and as an association, if we keep reinforcing that what we're about is participation and enjoyment, then those parents start getting, for want of a better term, ostracised by their own club community because they're on the outer of that sort of behaviour. And I think cricket's actually done that very well over the last 4 or 5 years. It's become a lot more participation based than outright performance. So in our under 11s, for example, we call it a non-competitive grade. There's no ladder, there's no finals, and everyone gets
The kids still know though, don't they?
The kids know, they know they've won, they know they've lost, so they get the same level of satisfaction that they're always going to get, but they're not playing for sheep stations, they're playing for the enjoyment and the love and of the game and their growth in the game.
One more question. You mentioned earlier, stage 1 and stage 2, the under 11s are stage 1. For the uninitiated, just explain the differences.
So stage 1, shortened pitch at both ends.
Yes.
Soft ball or softer ball rather than a full 142 gram hard cricket ball. Every batsman or batter gets to bat for somewhere around 15 balls and bowl at least 2 overs.
Great.
Teams are shortened to 7 on the field. And the next stage, the pitch is a little bit longer, the balls are hard, 20 balls or so to face, 2 or 3 overs, and 9 per side in the field. So increases the gaps out on the field for batsmen to hit boundaries, makes sure every bowler gets a decent number of balls. And from a little bit of original hesitancy, we were one of the associations that rolled out the format early on. Little bit of negative feedback from parents who were used to playing traditional cricket, and that was all. The kids have absolutely embraced it and love it, and it's turned the transition from what was Milo cricket and Woolies Blast cricket now into proper cricket a lot easier. So we're huge advocates for it.
Well, Tim, great to chat. Obviously, the competition's in great shape. May continue to be in great shape, and enjoy the new season. No doubt you got a lot on your plate, and hopefully it's successful as usual. Good on
Excellent.
you, Tim.
Good on you. Thanks, Dan.
No worries, Tim. Tim Boyce from the ISEC, big junior competition throughout the southeastern suburbs. Nearly 200 clubs, 195 to be precise, having a chat to us in our media launch of Cricket Southern Bayside for season 2019-2020 here at the Junction Oval, the beautiful Junction Oval, the home of Victorian cricket. Get your GameFace on.
We are highly competitive in all areas of banking activity. We've given back over $1,350,000 to community organisations.
We give 80% of our profits back to the community.
So why don't you come and join us, and together let's make a difference.
What, how, why, who? It all begins with you.
Well, we couldn't be in a better place, could we? Junction Oval, cricket on behind us. We're in the beautiful new facilities here for the Cricket Victoria and all their various entities that are involved with Cricket Victoria here at the Junction Oval. And we've also got the launch today of Cricket Southern Bayside for their new season. Not starting until next week because some of the pitches not quite right, but we're talking to all the playmakers, whether they be on or off the field, and of course the umpires as well, who play such a big part in sport. Without umpires, we couldn't have a game of cricket, game of footy, a game of sport in general. And it's a great pleasure to talk to the Cricket Southern Bayside umpire manager, Paul Jensen. Good to have you with us, Paul.
Thanks very much, Dan.
And also, it's a magnificent concept that they've come up with this year. They've got a marketing company, iGo Direct, involved with the Umpire Scholarship Program, and joining us, Stuart Jensen, is the General Manager from iGo Direct in the Analytics and Operations Department. Good to have you with us, Stuart. I'll start with you. Tell us about your sponsorship. How did you guys decide to get involved in this?
So iGo Direct is we work with our clients to help them engage with their customers, and basically have good discussions and promotions about getting people involved in what our clients are about. So working with Southern Bayside, obviously they've got a large membership base, they've got other companies involved. We saw this as a really good opportunity to work with them to help promote umpires, bring some up and comers through the scholarship program, and ultimately work with them so they can really drive what umpiring is all about for the club.
Well, it's a massive population growth, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
you are able to target a huge audience, or a potentially huge audience.
Potentially huge audience, and also really help Cricket Southern Bayside engage with members and players outside of umpiring as well.
Paul, the importance of having a sponsor as part of the Umpire Scholarship Program, because as I said earlier, without umpires we can't have a game of cricket.
That's right, and it particularly with people that may be students or people that just to support their income to fulfil all the prerequisites required. You have to do level 1, level 2 accreditation. You pay joining fees. So just to help out with that, it's an encouraging form to it's a nice recruitment tool to have.
So, in regard to your Umpire Scholarship Program, how many do you have on the scholarship each year?
Well, that's open-ended because
Right.
we go through all the applicants that are interested in. If they tick all the boxes there, like obviously we'd like them to hang around a year after they do the scholarship just to get some value out of them and to enhance their training. So it's another tool to training to people say, hey, that's all right. And if I join, then there is some sponsorship available to help me along.
We've been talking a lot this morning about the number of teams that you've got to try and service in regard to cricket, in regard to finding umpires. How tough is it?
It's extremely tough, and it's not just here. It's across the board with all associations, because the work dynamic has changed. With people now have jobs Saturday and Sunday, and they have Monday, Tuesday off. I get hundreds of calls from people, can you get me a game on a Monday or a Tuesday, because they're in the hospitality industry, the supermarkets. A lot of people's working life now is Saturday, Sunday, and that's eroded the supply of umpires, because they'd love to umpire but they can't.
Is it a full-time job trying to find umpires? Are you on the phone on Saturday morning, or if the juniors are playing Friday night, even Friday at 4, saying, we've got a game in half an hour, I need an umpire?
Oh, look, it's non-stop. Once the siren sounds in the AFL Grand Final, that's it. My phone starts to ring. That's it.
And doesn't stop for 6 months.
Doesn't stop for 6 months. And then if you've got about 3 hours, I can tell you all the stories that people, I need umpires, they pull out on a Friday night. I had a call from one guy, said, "Oh, Paul, I can't umpire tomorrow." I said, where are you ringing from? He said, "Bangladesh airport." So we've got all these sort of constraints, and your panel, certain weekends that they're unavailable. So it is a very, very, we're trying to encourage, and through the scholarship, ex-players. We want more ex-players to take on umpires because they are the best, because they've come straight from the playing field, and we have some luck with that. But that's the sort of, the scholarship will allow us now to target that market, because guys play and they're either not getting a game, or they break down, or they just had enough of playing. Now there is a direct career path now to go from playing to umpiring.
Because it's not an easy game to get to know the rules, is it? There are so many. I've done a bit of umpiring, and there are so many rules involved, aren't there?
Oh, Dan, look, and I was the same. You suddenly realise that all the laws and playing conditions you didn't know as a player.
So, Stuart, the overall benefits of being a sponsor of a program like this for your organisation?
So I Go Direct, we're on a bit of a growth phase at the moment. We're branching out into sort of new and innovative products, services that help organisations really target and be able to promote. So we thought the opportunity to work with an organisation we haven't traditionally worked with, which is sporting clubs. We see that as a real sort of synergy of what we can bring to help CSB recruit new people in, recruit new umpires, but also allow us to form those sort of partnerships within the sporting community to really drive what we can do.
Makes a lot of sense to be involved in sporting organisations, particularly at the community level, doesn't it? There's probably not enough organisations that do that, and when they do, I think that the penny drops. They think, well, we're going to get a lot of benefit out of this.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many people who are involved in local sports, the families, the other companies that sort of sponsor these sorts of programs. So really the opportunity for us to really help and get involved in that space. Plus, as you've said, you need umpires to run a competition. So to be able to help some people who are interested in the game come up through, absolutely, that's what we want to do.
Now, Paul, you've obviously been an umpire for a long time. What have you always found as the most difficult decision? I've always found the LBs difficult. I either don't give it out, or I then have to find a reason not to give it out.
Yep. LBs, I instruct everyone with LBs, look, they're either out or not out now. They're very easy decision to give. It's either out or not out, just the players don't agree.
Well, they never agree, do they?
No. But the most difficult ones now are with all the equipment they're wearing, just that faint edge down the left side. Has it come off shirt? Has it come off back of the glove? And if you don't see it, but what not out really means I don't know, rather than guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is where obviously the introduction of the technology. The poor old umpires are on a hiding to nothing, aren't they? At the highest level.
Well, it's actually I talk to a lot of these guys, and it is eroding their confidence. The whole system was brought in to erode the howlers.
Yes.
Or line decisions where it's clearly out or not out, with a run out or a stumping. But now it's sort of forensically examining minutely every decision. So you may as well just have laser beams and no umpires.
Correct. Now, Stuart, where can we find your organisation?
So igogrroup.com.au is our main website with all of our services information there. We're based in Kensington, so we're a local bespoke marketing agency, always up for a chat to help any size business with their promotion and ultimately their client engagement.
Good on you, gentlemen. Great to catch up. It's a magnificent idea. It's a magnificent initiative to get a scholarship program up and going, to get more umpires in this growing competition, which just gets bigger by the minute. And we appreciate your time today. Get your GameFace on.
We give 80% of our profits back to the community.
This is the Media Day launch for the new season for Cricket Southern Bayside 2019-2020. We are at the Junction Oval. Beautiful day for cricket as the Premier Cricket competition is underway between St Kilda and the Greenvale Kangaroos. And in the background, the Greenvale Kangaroos, as is often the case, under the pump against one of the strongest teams in St Kilda. We've just been talking about the IGO Direct CSB umpiring scholarship program, which is a magnificent idea to attract more umpires to the game, particularly in such a growing area and such a big competition that Cricket Southern Bayside is, and they've got so many different competitions, junior, women's and men's, that they have to service. And two of those umpires who are benefiting from this particular umpiring scholarship program, sponsored by IGO Direct Marketing Company, Thomas Negri and also Clare Haysom. Thomas is a former player, Clare is a current player. Clare, I'll start with you. You play, you umpire. Do you have time to sleep? Do you have time to do anything else?
Not really. Cricket sort of becomes my life in the summer, but I couldn't be happier about that.
When did you get into umpiring?
I literally, this September, I thought, why not? Let's go for it. And I signed up to one of the Cricket Victoria accreditation programs, and here I am.
So you've done the first and second level accreditation?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, having been a player, how much did it help in regard to being able to do that accreditation quite seamlessly?
Absolutely, immensely. I find that if you have a good understanding of the rules and the play, and also you get to actually see what the umpires do on the ground, I think that really helped me along the process and along the accreditation process. Have you done many matches yet? I haven't done any matches yet.
Are you going to be nervous for your first game? Or the fact you've played, you don't think you'll be that nervous?
I hope it doesn't show. I can feel it on the inside, but as long as it doesn't show, I think I'll be fine.
Thomas, tell us about your journey. You're a former player, and now you're going into umpiring. Why did you decide to take up umpiring?
Just decided a different avenue. I'm about to get married, so it's nice to help get that little bit of help. Also, I've always had an interest in it. I've always been interested in cricket ever since I started playing when I was about 7. Yeah. Just to learn rules that I just never knew existed is also such an awesome thing to get a deeper understanding of the game.
Okay, you talk about rules. I mean, most of us, I suppose, when we play know most of the rules, but what were a couple of the rules you were a bit unsure about before you became an umpire? It's an interesting point you just brought.
One that I seemed to get called for when I was a player was the back foot over the popping crease was one that I always got pinned for, so getting a nice understanding of that, and probably owe a few umpires apologies.
Now, your partner's in the room today. Cheers. Shout out for her. What's her name?
Maddie.
Right. And she's obviously going to become a cricket widow, because if you're umpiring on the weekend and you go a long way, you'll be travelling around the world. Is that an aim down the track?
Hopefully, but that would be the dream. My fiance has played a lot more cricket than I have and played a lot higher level, so she's teaching me some things along the way too.
And Claire, do you think by being an umpire it'll help you as a player too, in regard to obviously the front foot no ball and just becoming a better player yourself?
Yeah, I definitely believe so. I think that with that further understanding, but also, I guess, appreciation for what the umpires do out on the ground, I think that when I play, I'll be able to sort of approach it with a more moderate and a more understanding view during the game. And not that I could ever see you get frustrated, but not get frustrated at an umpire when you're playing, realising you're in that position yourself. Yeah, exactly.
Is that how you sort of feel, Thomas? Have you done a game yet?
I haven't done a game. I was a junior coach for 3 years, so I've umpired their games. Yes. So I've got a basic understanding, as well as I'm doing my accreditation at the same time. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
And obviously you'll get an opportunity to do a few games this year.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to umpire as much as I can and learn and develop my skills.
And take us through the importance of the scholarship that IGO Direct sponsoring for the umpires this year. How much do you think you'll benefit from it?
Oh, immensely, absolutely immensely. So alongside with Cricket Southern Bayside and Cricket Victoria, the communication's been fantastic to us to help us understand what we needed to do and how exactly the sponsorship came to us and what we needed to do. So I mean, just the first initial communication with Cricket Southern Bayside is a fantastic way to start, because they're extremely helpful.
And Claire, as I said, you play both. You also study. I mean, do you get time to have a rest at all, or your life's just so busy?
Life's pretty busy, but during the summer holidays, I dedicate it mostly to cricket.
So who do you play for?
I play for Monash University.
Okay.
So with the university that I studied.
So you plan to umpire and play for as long as you can, or do you think the umpiring will take over, or vice versa?
Well, It depends on where I go in the future, I guess, but I'd like to have both avenues open for as long as possible. I'm thinking of maybe going rural one day, and if they don't have women's teams, I still want to be involved in the game.
Now, can I ask you a question? I asked Paul this before. Obviously, since you both got into umpiring in the last few months, watching it at the highest level, does that make you more nervous knowing that they can change decisions and you've got the technology, at least at community level, you've just got your eyes, you've got the opportunity to make that decision. You're more emboldened to make the decision yourself. Do you feel a bit better about that?
Yeah, certainly. I think it's actually less pressure on yourself because you haven't got those people micromanaging you. And I think in the end of the day, your instinct is always going to be the best decision over technology.
Well done, guys. Congratulations on the scholarship. Good luck, and when you get the opportunity to umpire, which no doubt will be very soon, I hope it goes well for you. Really appreciate your time today, and,
thank you.
And good luck with your wedding.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks to Clare, thanks to Thomas. I hope that goes well, and we'll be back with more shortly in our launch of the Cricket Southern Bayside season for 2019-2020, our media day. Thanks to iGo Direct for sponsoring and getting right behind this program, and to also Paul Jensen, the CSB umpiring manager. We'll have more shortly. Get your GameFace on.
Hey guys, Plugger from GameFace here. GameFace is really excited to introduce our new official apparel partner for 2019 and 2020, Swiv's Locker.
Yeah, Plugger, we've got a whole range of winter warmers, jackets, hoodies, polo shirts, puffer vests, long sleeve tees, the whole works. Get your GameFace on.
Well, girls cricket is certainly thriving in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. It's got a lot to do with the all-girls cricket competition, and has it come a long way in the last 6 or 7 years. And to tell us all about it is the co-chairperson, or co-chairwoman, I should say, Ros Baston from All Girls Cricket. Ros, good to have you with us on the media day for Cricket Southern Bayside, and you've got a big competition. It's going beautifully, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. Thanks, Dan. Really happy to be here. Very passionate about girls cricket, so I can talk about it for hours. But yeah, we've got a great competition. As you said, we're in our 7th season. Started in 2013 with 4 teams and 47 girls. This year, 42 teams and over 400 girls.
And how much has that increased from last year?
30% increase on last year.
30%?
Yep.
So obviously you're looking for an increase every year. Do you aim for a certain amount of increase, or do you just hope there's a little bit of an increase?
I think that it's a little bit more complicated than that. I mean, we do set big goals for ourselves. Yeah, I'd love to see it grow year on year, but there's so much work done by volunteers, and you're really relying on the clubs and the passion of those people in order for the competition to grow. So it's really about us looking at what support can we provide, how do we provide that in order to ensure that the competition continues to grow.
There's a big population growth where you are, so you can target good areas, can't you? Where a lot of young families are coming into those areas, aren't they?
That's true, and I think too that the diversity of those areas as well. You know, there's a lot of cultures that are really passionate about cricket, and I think that gives us a lot of scope for development as well.
So you go from Glenwaver to Parkdale, Dingley to South Melbourne.
Yep.
Would you like to increase it? Can you increase it in regard to more suburbs in that particular area getting involved?
Yeah.
And do you have a certain number you'd love to be, where you think, gee, we've got more than enough now, or is it always a case of we've just got to keep growing this?
Yeah, I think we've just got to keep growing it, and I think for me, I'd just love to see every single club within the Cricket Southern Bayside region, every single club to have a girls team, at least one, if not more.
Do you think that'll happen?
Yeah, I think it will. There's a lot of passion, there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of really good people working on it. So I think, yeah, definitely, I think we can get there.
Do you have any clubs that have a negative attitude towards it, or do you think that's all dissipated because there's so much women's sport at an elite level now where we just take it for granted, don't we?
Yeah, there's some nuances in there, I have to say, in that there are some clubs that are just not really completely sort of understanding what it takes to have a girls team. There's a lot of clubs that go, yeah, I want to have a girls team, I want to have women at my club, but it does take a particular environment. There are sort of subtleties in the way that a girls competition runs compared to a boys competition. It's much more engaging, it's a lot more, you've got to really talk to your players, understand what they want, and you have to have an environment where they're comfortable to be themselves and develop their skills. They're not coming in having played in the backyard since they were 5. You know, they're coming in at 9, 10 or 11 with not that much experience. So about giving them that space to be able to grow and develop their skills. And the girls are really focused on their team. They're really focused on playing with their friends and having a good time together. And you need to create that kind of environment. Clubs that are highly competitive, that are really looking for, like, you know, which rep team are we getting our kids into, they have less success.
And how many premierships we're going to win. I mean, that's a major issue, isn't it?
Yeah, so that kind of environment doesn't really bode well for a girls' team. You've really got to have that more sort of open, collegiate camaraderie if you really want a girls' team at your club. And so I think that's what holds some clubs back, is really understanding what it takes to create a girls' team.
Lots of patience too.
But, yep, and you have to be highly organised and you have to be professional. The thing about girls is they're doing basketball, netball, calisthenics, gymnastics, and you are competing with those organisations and how well organised they are. So your club needs to be exceptionally well organised in order to get a girls' team up.
Does it help that the Australian women's cricket team is one of the best sporting teams in the world?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, most of the girls just absolutely love to see, or even the WBBL players, you know, they just love being around them, seeing their success, and they're so approachable, those teams as well. You know, I've been out here at the Junction Oval and had a chat with Beth Mooney over the fence after they beat New Zealand, and it was just so comfortable to talk to her, and they just make it so approachable, and I think that's fantastic for the girls. They love to be part of that.
I mean, I find the girls, when you interview them at community level, they are more engaging. They've got a story to tell, more of a story to tell than the guys. I mean, guys, particularly older teenage boys, 18, 19, are still developing their verbal skills, aren't they? Girls have got the verbal skills already, Ros, haven't they, which helps, doesn't it?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep them quiet, isn't it? Yeah. And we do talk about that a lot on the cricket field, that you can't talk when the bowler's running in.
No. I'm sure the girls are still learning that, aren't they? What age group do they start?
So we have them starting in the Master Blaster program, so, you know, anywhere on Junior Blaster, so from 5 up, but the all-girls cricket competition starts at around the sort of 10-year-olds.
That's about the right time, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't want them going too early, do you? Because you can burn them out, can't you?
Yeah, that's right.
So under 10 is the first year of competition?
Yeah, we call it 13 and under stage 1.
Right.
Generally we take girls in that 10 to 11 age group in that, and then we have a 13 under stage 2, which is much more of your 11, 12, 13-year-olds.
And the girls get a chance to play some interstate cricket, don't they, against Tasmania?
Yes, we did a competition against Cricket Tasmania
How'd
in
that
January.
go?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, it really showed to us just how strong our competition is. I mean, going into the 7th year, as I said, this year, and having so many girls playing in so many clubs, we've just got a really good level of skill and, yeah, really quite capable players.
And Wednesday and Sunday competition works?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
You have to fit it around ground allocation, really.
That's a big issue, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What can be done to improve that?
Well, I think that councils could look at what the City of Moreland is doing and allocate grounds based on evidence of diversity from clubs.
You don't think they're doing that at the moment in your neck of the woods?
It's not in their policies as such. They're not actually. So City of Moreland actually have it as part of one of their policies around ground allocation, that you as a club have to demonstrate diversity and you get preferential treatment.
Have you been able to prove that there's plenty of diversity in the southeastern suburbs? I would have thought there's plenty of diversity in the southeastern suburbs, particularly when you look at all the Sri Lankans playing local cricket at the men's level.
Yeah, well, that's something that I think we could spend a bit more time on, is looking at those, as you say, that's what I was saying before with the cultural diversity. I think there's certain cultures that are really passionate about their cricket, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, you know, and I think that we don't seem to have enough girls of those backgrounds coming through our competition. I'd love to see more of that.
How do you promote more of that?
That's a big question, Dan.
I'm here to ask the big questions, Ros.
Well, you know...
You're going beautifully, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm very passionate about it. I think it comes back to... you've got to respect the fact that it's volunteers, right? It's all volunteers. And so it's about...
Have you got enough of them?
Well, that's right. Never enough. Never enough. And it's just about tapping into those volunteers and being there to support them. What do they need? You know, what do they need to be able to get out there and promote cricket? But I'm finding that, like, I've got a couple of girls of different backgrounds now coming because I'm associated with a particular cricket club, and I'm finding
which club's that?
Washington Park Cricket Club in Carnegie. So we've got a girls team there. Obviously, I'm a coach of the 13 under team. We've got 3 teams this year, but I'm finding that even in our Junior Blasters, we're starting to get girls signing up because they see that there's a club that's got a girls program. And we've got a female head of junior coaching. She's an ex-Renegades player.
Right.
And so people start to see that, and that's when I think you'll start to see more people signing up when they can, yeah.
That's another issue too. It's interesting, we had the Seeker launch last week, and there are all these teams within a 5 or 10k radius of each other.
Yep.
Is that an issue for the
All
women
girls.
and the girls and all girls, or not really?
Not really.
Certainly an issue
Yeah.
for the men's, because there just seems to be so many teams all
Yeah.
taking place from each other because they're all so close to each other geographically.
I just think there's a whole untapped market. I think there's more girls. There's way more girls.
And what's it like being co-chairperson?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Have you got enough time to do your running and watch your Ashes cricket and do things like that?
No, and my paid work? No.
And your paid work? No?
It's a big juggle. It's a big juggle. But I love it. So, you know, and if you're passionate about it, you just find the time, don't you? But my co-chair, Sven Samild, he's remarkable. And the two of us make an exceptional team. I didn't know him before we agreed to be co-chairs last season. And it just fits really well. His skills compared to my skills, we just dovetail really nicely. And he's a remarkable man with what he's done with girls cricket down at Parkdale. So.
And you've got to find time for your family too. So somehow you put a few hours in and sleep occasionally.
Sleep occasionally, that's
Very
right. But
good.
look, you know, both my kids play cricket, so
Good.
you know, and I play, and so happy to be spending all my time with my kids at the cricket ground.
Excellent. Well, it's great to have you with us. The all-girls cricket competition's in very good shape. May it continue to develop, continue to expand. And Ros, we look forward to chatting to you throughout the season on GameFace. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thanks.
Get your GameFace on.
Get your GameFace on.